Oh, hey, Happy New Year. It's good to see you. Let's have a quick chat. So, your New Year's resolution is to check your privilege. Well, that's pretty cool. But wait, do you have a question? Oh, how do you check your privilege and what is privilege? Got it. Okay. So privilege is a word that gets kind of a bad rap. People think of it as negative or dismissive, but it's not really any of those things. Privilege is, well, it's the absence of discrimination. It's the ability to go through your life and have an aspect of you not only not negatively affect your life and the world around you, but sometimes even positively affect it. So, for example, a white person might just go to the store and they get really great service and they leave with everything they want. Whereas a person of color might go to that same store and because they are a person of color, get followed around the store and asked a lot of questions, and the service people might try and sell them something very quickly to get them out of the store. I know that from firsthand experience. And the thing about privilege is that it's not anything you earn. It's not something that you work towards. It's just sort of something that you have. And there's all different kinds of it. There's racial privilege, white privilege, like I just said. There's male privilege, where you don't have to deal with sexism on a daily basis. There's able-bodied privilege, where you get to live your life in a world that is designed for the way that your body functions. Actually, that's a really good way to put it. Like, the world is kind of designed for you. You're considered the norm. And so the world caters to you. And the people who are not like you, because they have different skin or a different identity or their bodies function differently than yours, well, they can be considered a problem or a threat or deviant. And the fact that you're not, that the world sort of expects you to just be able to walk through things pretty easily, that's privilege. I know what you're thinking. You don't have privilege because, you work hard and you earn the things that you have, and it's not like your life doesn't have problems. And yes, that's all true, but that's not how privilege actually works. It's not that having privilege means that you don't have any problems and that you've never worked hard. It just means that certain aspects of your life aren't going to be part of the problem. If you are a cis person, which is someone who is not a trans person in any way, your gender identity is probably not going to negatively affect your life. It's not going to be one of the problems that you have, even if you have other problems. Privilege is not really a good or bad thing. It's not something that we earn. It just sort of happens. And we don't necessarily have a ton of control over the privilege that we're born with. I am Black and a woman and bisexual, so I don't have privileges in those areas, but I am able-bodied, and I don't have to worry about things like ramps or hearing aids, or whether there's Braille menus or anything like that. And that's a big privilege, and it just is. And we don't necessarily have a ton of control over the privilege that we're born with. But we do have control over what we do with it. And that can be good or bad. There are people who want to use their privilege to hold on to power, to keep themselves high and to push other people low. And that's real bad. Don't do that. That's pretty awful. But there are also people who don't really want to acknowledge that they have any privilege. They don't really want to see that. And that is also bad. That's not great. Because if you're not acknowledging that you have privilege and you're not seeing the way that it affects your world, you may not be making things better, and you're certainly leaving things to stay worse. So what can you do? You want to do something. You wouldn't be here otherwise. One, it means acknowledging that you have it and seeing how it affects your world. What are things that you don't go through that people who aren't like you do go through? What are the things that you don't notice until somebody points them out? What are the areas in your life that seem really easy, but then people who are different from you seem to have it way, way harder? You can hear the stories of people who aren't like you and really listen to them, not just have a dialogue where they talk and then you tell them about how you've never experienced that or anything like that. Just let them talk. Just sit down, shut up, and hear them out. And then ask how you can be helpful, what you can do to help liberate them and lift them up. And that doesn't mean you tell them what to do. Just because you have a privilege doesn't mean you know how to solve everybody else's life. Most people are experts in their own lives anyway. But ask them how you can be present and support them in what they're trying to do to work against marginalization, to combat the privilege that they don't have. And then when you do that, that's a way that you can not only become a better friend or ally, but to help sort of use your privilege for good and to help lift people up so that there really isn't privilege anymore. It's just people going through things, good and bad, without their identities being a mitigating factor. Does that make sense? Good. I'm glad we had this talk. See you later. Bye.